What's up, everybody? It's your boy Heems, and guys, we are back with another article. Today, guys, the title of this, and this is actually from the New York Post, and it's titled Howard Stern, How Hollywood is effed up for Dave Chappelle's versus Will Smith's response by Ben Cost. He gave a Stern lecture. Radio icon Howard Stern is tearing into Tinseltown, claiming they're treating Oscar slapper Will Smith differently compared to Dave Chappelle's attacker. The 68-year-old shock jock criticized the supposed showbiz double standard during a Wednesday episode of the Howard Stern Show. Quote, "This guy jumped on stage and attacked Dave Chappelle," end quote, Stern fumed into the mic, Mediate reported. As soon as that happened, did they let him go back to his seat and laugh and sit next to his wife and give them an award? No. They took him backstage, they broke his arms and hands so bad. Stern was referring to the viral incident in which Isaiah Lee, who's the name of the person that attacked Dave Chappelle, tackled the half-baked star while armed with a fake gun during the Netflix is a Joke festival in Los Angeles Hollywood Bowl. The assailant was subsequently beaten to a pulp by security and arrested, while A-list celebs including Chris Rock and Jamie Foxx tended to Chappelle. Lee has since been charged with felony assault with a deadly weapon. Needless to say, Stern found it hypocritical that the same standards didn't apply to the 53-year-old alley actor following his infamous Oscar slap at Rock. Quote, "Unlike the Academy Awards, Jamie Foxx came running out on stage and helped Dave Chappelle," the entertainer ranted. "At the Academy Awards, everyone came over and consoled Will Smith because it was live television and Hollywood didn't know what to do about Will Smith." And they're showing some of the pictures. Indeed, following the Academy Awards, in which the Hancock star slapped Chris Rock for making a baldness crack about his wife, Jada Pinkett, who suffers from alopecia, Smith was allowed to stay at the event and accept the Best Actor Oscar, for which he received a standing ovation and a complete 180 from the Chappelle attack. Smith was comforted by celebs instead of his victims. Naturally, some might find it unsurprising that an Oscar-winning actor was treated differently than a non-celebrity. However, Stern maintained that Hollywood shouldn't treat Will Smith any different than they did the Chappelle attacker. The audience at the Oscars gave Will Smith a standing ovation after the attack. That's truth. The truth. The radio personality invented it's on film. It's not fake news. They didn't break Will's hands. They shook them, and it's wrong. And it's showing a picture of Dave Chappelle. In summary, Stern found the discrepancy and consequences indicative of how effed up Hollywood is. Some people in the audience at the Academy Awards still should be very ashamed of themselves. I hope they are, he said. Of course, Smith's deed didn't go entirely unpunished. In April, the I Am Legend actor was slapped with a 10-year ban from the Academy Awards ceremony. As for Chappelle in Tuesday's incident, he's not shaken up. The performances by Chappelle at the Hollywood Bowl were epic. His rep, Carla Sims, told the Hollywood Reporter. Dave Chappelle celebrated four nights of comedy and music, setting record-breaking sales for a comedian at Hollywood Bowl. This run ties Chappelle with Monty Python for the most headline shows by any comedian at the Hollywood Bowl, reaching 70K fans of diverse backgrounds during the first Netflix is a Joke, the festival, and he refuses to allow last night's incident or that night incident overshadow the magic of this historic moment. So guys, what are your thoughts on that whole situation? Because I mean, I get what he's saying. It shouldn't be a double standard, because the fact of the matter was you saw more actors and people consoling him at that time. But then it's like, I really don't know if honestly that, and it's a slippery slope with the whole thing, because like at that moment and in that situation, it was two different natures of the beast. You know, Will Smith just brought his person and he just slapped him and he walked off stage. This dude went and tackled, where either one or two things could have happened. Either the prop weapon that he could have caused the guy bodily harm because it had a knife attached on it, or just from the impact alone, if he would have been even less, if the timing was less and he had cracked his head, bam, he could have had a concussion. There wasn't no security, and you know everybody that was there, they was ready to go. Like as soon as they saw it, they jumped on stage and they handled it faster than security did. Shoot, you like I said, you had the Sinister Six, you had Buster Bus out there busting flipping dudes, but you know you had everything. But like Chris Rock didn't receive that same treatment. I think too is like in that, and that's a weird one to go into, or it's weird to even like try to dissect that. But I do see the hypocrisy in a sense because it's like, well, it was the Oscars, it was high-paid actors that performed this act versus just a random guy on stage, and I think it was a mix of two, like everybody else trying to basically process what they saw. Because when I first sat there and saw that, I was like, yo, is this fake? What is this? When I first even saw the pictures, I was like, I didn't even know that was Will Smith at the time, based off the angle and the slap until I actually read into it. It would have been crazy if Chris Rock would have retaliated. That would have been a hell of a thing to have saw if Samuel Jackson and all of them, shit, the whole Avengers came down there, stomped on them and stuff. You know, you even had the cast and stuff from like Black Panther. So it's like, yeah, but then it's like, I think it would have honestly made things that much more worse in that incident because it was already a thing of like, there's been petitions against like the Oscars. Like it didn't seem like it was the quote unquote melting pot for a lot of cast. And then it's like, now we finally have that opportunity to have that. And of all nights, the slap happens. And then let's just imagine that, you know, Samuel, Denzel, you know, the Equalizer, everybody comes out and they all having a brawl fest. It would basically prove in the worst way why something like this could not be done. And this was definitely an opportunity. It's been long overdue. You have a lot of actors who have come all over the world who deserve an opportunity to do this. And despite what Will Smith did, he did in fact deserve his award. The dude had worked hard for that over the years. Chris Rock, to get to the stats that he was at, he deserved that as well. It was just the slap was unnecessary. It could have been talked about. It could have been talked about behind stage, or if he wanted to take the whole bully tactic, he could have really had milked the whole thing with the alopecia, have gotten several, you know, people who suffer from alopecia or even just shaved their head and just been like, you see, you know, you can't talk. And he could have played the long haul game with this. But, you know, it's a lot, like I said, and that slap alone, because Will Smith was laughing, I don't think necessarily that the slap was just so much just directed. I think it's a lot of things that built up, and Chris Rock just happened to get that slap. Following up to that incident, coming back to the whole Dave Chappelle's tackle, though, the crazy thing was that Chris Rock was there. And so he actually threw in that joke as if to say, like, you know, wow, was that Will Smith? And as soon as he said that, I was like, hey, here it go. He already started, because there was a stand-up and they showed somebody recording it. He was like, you know, I basically like, I'm doing good, you know, since then. And, you know, you kept hearing people kind of chuckling like they know what he's talking about. And then he was like, I'll talk about it when, you know, I get paid. And then people chuckled about it again. That was a build-up, and just seeing this, it's like, nah, Chris Rock didn't forget that. And then it even went as far as there was an article where he basically said, and I quote, you know, you basically talking with Chappelle as if like, you know, you got tackled by a homeless guy. I got tackled by the softest rapper in the, you know, the whole world. And yeah, it's getting there. And they said supposedly Will Smith is, you know, he's doing some deep healing in India. He's supposed to be coming back. I think he's supposed to do something with David Letterman, if I'm not mistaken. But the thing is, though, no matter how much of the self-healing, you still got to address this. You know, he apologized on Instagram, and yes, it pertained to Chris Rock, but it's like, it's not a formal apology of like shaking your hand and being like, look, man, I'm sorry. You know, I'm sorry for what I did. So it's like, it left it open. And for some people, they kind of judge the whole Chris Rock situation as, well, oh, he's saying all this, but you know what? That's a damn shame because he got slapped And, well, if you got slapped by the softest rapper in the world, then, that says a lot about you. Either sue, fight him, or shut up. It's one of those, you can't tell nobody how to address this situation or the way the situation should be addressed. You're not them. And that being said, a lot of people who have their critique on it, just like, a lot of people have their critique on Terry Crews, like, oh, you should have body slammed that dude. You got the muscles. You can do this. You could have done that. You could have mopped the floor with this cat. But then the next headline would be, Terry Crews did this, blah, 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 blah. And the guy can swerve him down and say, oh, I just brushed up against him. It's his word against theirs. And unless you got enough witnesses outside of his wife, that can even be, manipulated to say, well, of course that's his wife. She'll stand up for him. She loves him and she don't want to see him get hurt. So as if, of course, she would corroborate the story. So, and all those people that said what they said, would these be the same people that would bail Terry Crews out of jail? Would they help him? More than likely, no. They'll talk about the incident. They'll talk about how he, hey, he didn't take nothing, he handled his, but they ain't gonna bail him out. And I feel the same way with the whole Dave Chappelle situation. Or I feel like even like with this, with the Chris Rock, because people are like, oh, well, even if Chris Rock would have retaliated, we don't know what kind of a reverse effect or adverse effect that would have had on him. And just simply the Oscars as a whole, because once again, that's been the biggest talk of making it more suitable for everyone of all cultures, of all backgrounds. So him swinging up there only would have made that whole situation worse. And for people to sit there and be like, oh, well, he's taking a jab at him. He should, either you want to shut up, fight, or this and that, man. Like, you don't know what the cat's been through. You don't know what he's going through. The dude's been through therapy for years of being bullied. And this is the best way that he knew how to handle it. And I think, in all honesty, that's a good way just to remind people that he ain't forgot. He didn't forget this. And I feel like it's more on the horizon. So while Will Smith is, rubbing his genie lamp, he needs to be prepped for everything that's going to happen, because like it or not, and like I love and respect him as an actor, he's multi-talented. And like I said, again, he deserved his Oscar, but no, he didn't need to do that. And he does need to fix this, regardless of what's going on at the home. This needs to be dealt with, because this is a backlash. There's even an article from Steve Harvey and his thoughts and his feelings on the situation. It hasn't stopped, and it's already going into 2 months. But guys, what are your thoughts on the situation? Do you feel like this was basically hypocrisy on Hollywood's end? Basically, and even that question, I feel like it definitely is. I feel like there's definitely could have been if not the same similar situation, but then I think, like they said before, though, just considering the people and the situation at hand. That was a random attacker, and they handled it the way that anybody would with a weapon, for that matter. With Will Smith and all them all being actors, for one, everybody was in shock. But then again, too, people could have stepped on stage, not necessarily to stomp Will out, but they could have, like talked to him and like really fixed. But it seemed like it was more like people were comforting him, and for real, nobody came to the aid of Chris Rock at the time. So I do sense a hypocrisy in it. However, if we're talking about doing the same treatment as that, no. But I do see where Howard Stern's talking about him being charged, but the ball ultimately was in Chris Rock's court, and Chris Rock chose not to press charges. At one point in time, they even had police officers who was basically there to escort him out of there. And Chris Rock said no, let him stay. And even though it's not anything that's apparent or like as obvious as if, like, Will Smith in handcuffs, any of that, believe me when I tell you, he is suffering on the inside, and it's just the start. And taking him away from the Oscars, you're killing his any opportunities that he has with Sony and Netflix and any other production. I think that's not to say the equivalent, but it's a start to basically being the justice towards, you know, what happened to Chris Rock. And I think each situation is different. I sense the hypocrisy. I get what he's saying, like, well, hey, he shouldn't have arrested, you know, but it's like, in that sense, it's almost like there's a different nature to that too. But in the retro sense, there is being justice handed either way. So, guys, this is your boy wrapping it up with another one. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think that Will Smith should have got the same treatment? Do you think that Samuel Jackson, you know, should they have called the Hulk? Should they all came up there and body slammed Will Smith? Or do you think what he is received and is receiving and will be receiving in the long term justification in itself, or, you know, cathartic in itself? You know, let me know, guys, what y'all think. But guys, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to your boy Heem's Cast Gaming. To anybody that wants to catch my gaming content, I stream on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Trovo Live Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Late starts are between 6:15 and 6:30. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram as well as on Twitter and Discord for updates and more on content and schedules. And guys, don't forget to check out your boy's merch. But to everybody, this is your boy Heem's Cast Game. Sign out for another one. I'll see you guys soon with more content. To everybody out there, peace. Till the next video.